Yeah. Hi, guys. I'm danspence94. First time at WASD, absolutely.
Sorry, guys, I screwed up. Give me a second. Right, let's try that again.
We good?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I'm danspence94. For those who don't know me, I run MediEvil. I also run Resident Evil as well. We're going for any percent today. Just the fastest one out of the different categories. Hopefully, marathon luck will shine on me today. Last time it didn't do so well. But yeah, once we got all the sound and everything sorted out, we will be good to go.
Just give me a sec. Could you just talk about the game and what you decided to run?
Yeah, sure. So MediEvil, as the announcer said before, did come out in 1998. It's a hack and slash game. It's the story revolves around the protagonist Dan Fortescue. He was a knight in the Battle of Gallowmere, which is the land that the game is set in. He was on the front lines of the last battle with Zarok, as you can see on the screen there. He was heralded as a hero, and the king said that he had killed Zarok in the battle, even though he was mortally wounded. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. He was actually killed in the first charge by the first arrow that was fired. So throughout the game, you'll see the gargoyles that will refer to you as it, because they don't see you as a person. There's a lot of inside jokes in terms of the game where everyone believes you're a hero, but you're not. We won't be seeing much of that because we will be skipping through a lot of the cutscenes, and we're going to actually skip a few of the levels, which I'll get into a bit further down the line. Any percent as well. It uses something called a level looping skip, which once we get to it, I'll explain in a bit more detail. But essentially, it lets us skip the entire level. We'll use that a couple of times and just completely blitz through. I think there's 18 levels in total, and we go through 15. We skip one completely because it is optional. You only usually use it for the extra weapons, but we're not going to need that. We're just going to use all the starting weapons that we can pick up during the run.
Okay, thank you very much, Dan, for your very great explanation. I'm Jay. I'm going to be on the stream and on the mic for a bit, and I think we're ready to start the game. So if you can give me a countdown for when you want to start.
Yeah, sure. Can I just get the game a bit louder in the headphones?
Yeah, sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So for this, the time...
How's that?
Just a little bit.
Better? Cool.
Yeah, so for this, time does start a new game, and time will finish on the final hit on Zarok. So if we're good for a countdown, we can get into it.
Yep.
Should we go from 5?
Yep.
So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's get it on. So our first level basically is our introduction level. So we're just going to get some smack talk to us by these gargoyles, but we're going to skip it. We don't need to hear any of that. Very short level, only about 30 seconds. We're going to grab our sword and we're going to grab the rune. It basically serves as a bit of a tutorial, shows you that you can pick up weapons in the world. Runes to obviously unlock doors so we can get out. And I've found something called a life bottle there, which basically once my health reaches 0, a life bottle will get used and it will refill my health. We're going to go straight into the graveyard, our first proper level. You'll see in the top right corner, it might appear sometimes when I'm killing enemies, there's a chalice. So the game functions on, you can see it there in the top right. Once you fill the chalice to 100% by killing enemies, you can then pick it up in the level, which will then grant you passage to somewhere called the Hall of Heroes. The Hall of Heroes is where all the other Knights of Gallowmere actually are. The ones that actually fought in the battle and actually made a difference. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to get extra weapons. You'll get their weapons. It can range from crossbows to magic shields, magic swords, lightning that you can apparently wield for whatever reason. We're going to hit that 3 times, which lets this door open here. We're going to go through. And we're going to pick up our second life bottle. Life bottles are fundamental in any percent. because we don't have obviously the upgraded weapons, we don't have things such as the magic longbow, the magic sword. We're very limited to what we can use. There is a little bit of a boost skip there, but unfortunately we missed it. But it's not too much of a loss. Essentially, when you open a chest and you hit the chest, it actually acts as like a bit of a burst animation. So if you're stood right next to it, it will propel you a couple of pixels forward. Our next level is coming up, Cemetery Hill. Now, this is a bit of a different one. We're actually going to pick up a new weapon and some key items from this one. First, we're just going to watch a small bit of a cutscene. So, Zarok is at the top here. He obviously knows that we've been resurrected, thanks to his own magic. So he's going to activate these 2 stone gargoyles, which are going to propel boulders at us. But because this is a speedrun marathon, we're just going to go right past them. So first things first, we're going to go for our new weapon, which is the club. So we're going to jump across it, and we're actually going to clip through this wall.
He just spooks through the wall.
That's usually quicker than that. That's never happened before, but here we are. So I found the club, which lets us smash through boulders that are in the way. It also lets us light things on fire, which is going to come into play in a minute. So we're going to kill that one there. We're going to light the club. Come over here. We're going to go into this little tomb. Jump over these zombies and jump up the stairs. And light this in the middle. This allows us to get the Witch's Talisman, which is going to come in handy a lot later down the line. We're going to take a bit of damage there, but that's not too bad. There is a lot of opportunity to heal during the run. So in the early stages, if we do take too much damage, I'm not too worried. So fun fact, these boulders, given that this was made in 1998 even, their hitboxes are very small, so we can actually run along the side of the hill and completely avoid them. So these 2 gargoyles are going to blow themselves up because they failed, and we're going to go on to the next level, the Hilltop Mausoleum, where we're going to actually face our first boss. As you notice, this is a very Tim Burton-y game. This came out around about the time it was actually getting traction. So.
When you say Tim Burton, is he related to, like, actually any relation to movie making?
I don't think so.
It's just the aesthetic.
I think the aesthetic of it, yeah. When it first came out, it was produced in Cambridge by Sony Cambridge. It actually, I think they got through halfway through doing it and had to scrap the whole thing. I think they reworked the entire game about 3 times in its development.
Someone asked, is this game available on Steam?
No, it's not at the minute. The remastered version of MediEvil did come out last year, but unfortunately it is a PS4 exclusive. What I'm playing this on is a PS1 emulator. We're actually using the American version because it was made at 60 Hz, which makes the run faster, and by default definition, you have to use the American version.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast. For those that have just tuned in, if you didn't know, we are raising money for Special Effects. It's an amazing, amazing charity. They make gaming peripherals for those that might have either physical or mental debilitations through life, who can't enjoy things like video games. I know as me as a child growing up, this was a massive, massive part of my life. So if you can donate, please do so. There are some incentives. We do have a raffle going on as well for a couple of items. You can find the donation link below, I believe, or in the chat.
Yep, if you type exclamation mark donate in chat, or you click the special effect button below the stream, you'll be taken to a donation page where all the raffles and incentives are available to you there.
Okay, so following on from that, we are going to fight our first boss. Now, because we don't have a ranged weapon, it is just going to give us some. So we're going to use the throwing daggers for this. Okay, so what you'll see me charging up a throw there, so that actually throws 3 daggers instead of 1. Does around 45 damage to this boss. We want to hit him as many times as we can with that, get his health down to roughly about 100 before his third phase sets in. He's going to try and freeze us. 116, we can still do it with this. So he's going to jump forward and backwards. He might throw some blasts at me like that. And now he's shoved up, there we go. And there is the stained glass demon. I did try and go for what's known as the skull key skip. You throw your last dagger and you jump directly underneath, because you'll see in a minute you just drop a key. Unfortunately, I'm just a bit too far away from it. What that does essentially is it lets you pick the key up, which is the exit trigger for the level, as soon as the boss does die, and then it will just immediately cut out. We're going to go to a new level. It's actually called Return to the Graveyard. It is the graveyard level we were in before in reverse, but this time now we have the skull key. We can open a door, which leads us to our second boss, and we're also going to pick up a new ability, which is going to make things so much faster. Great time for donations if we do have it.
Yep, just about to say. We have £10 from Dinosaur Bites, saying good luck from the Resurrect Fortesk team, and with avoiding the soft lock on Haunted Ruins this time.
Oh, Jesus. Thank you, guys. Just as a note on that, I have changed the route, so we won't soft lock this time. We're actually going to get a full run this time, guys.
We have a £2 donation from Logical Macrochip, saying go, Sir danspence94. The Resurrect Fortesk Discord is cheering for you.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate the support.
We have a £5 donation from Distributive with no message. We have a £3 donation from Nost saying good luck on the run, Dan. Make slash through those enemies nice and speedy. And we have a £10 donation from Fireboy saying great event, great cause. Fortunate to be here live in the audience. Cannot wait for the great weekend ahead. Good luck to everyone speedrunning. Jack, Fireboy Thomas. Thank you, Jack.
Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate your donations for this. Okay, so we're going to fight our second boss, the Guardians of the Graveyard, which are two wolves that are going to try and dash around the arena. We're going to try and kill them with our club before they get a chance to. Oof, that's a bad cycle. But we're just going to do it there. So you'll see that I've picked up something called the Daring Dash. That, as it says, it allows me to dash instead of just running. You can see it there. So we're going to actually use that straight away. We're going to go back to Dan's crypt, because there is actually, not a lot of people know this, there's actually a secret room in Dan's crypt which will allow you to get another life bottle. So for the sake of being very safe on the run, we're going to go back. We actually are going to go and get it. On world record attempts, you will probably miss this out. I know the world record holder at the minute completely misses that room. Completely misses out this and just goes straight for the next stage. Just going to blitz through it, because it is exactly the same level. We just get the extra life bottle and we leave. So now it comes up to my favourite part of the run, and I say favourite because it's stressful as all hell. We're actually going to use what I mentioned earlier, the level loop. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go and do it first, and then I'll explain a bit more on how the tech actually works. We're going to get a good damage boost. That's cool. So we're going to use this lift, we're going to go up, and then once we hit a certain cloud, we're actually going to jump off. It's going to look like I'm trying to commit suicide, but as you'll see very soon, we're going to actually skip this entire level. So we're going to go past the cloud, we're going to use the inventory glitch, and we're going to fall out of bounds. Change trajectory, and that's the end of the level. So what actually happens there is you use the inventory glitch, because once the inventory is open you are invincible. You jump off, you go past what would normally kill you, the trigger that would kill you, because you are out of bounds you can actually still move. So once you close the inventory you can still move around. We just hold one direction, and basically you fall so far off the main plane of the level, you reappear at the top. So essentially that's the loop. and then you just traject yourself onto the exit trigger, which finishes the level. And we're going straight into this one. It's called Tools of the Ancient Dead. You can use the level up loop to completely skip this level, but it's one of the loops I've not actually been able to master as of yet, so we're doing this OG. So what we need to do is we need to go find all these soul helmets. You can see me picking up, so we've got 4 there, we've got 4 left. We are actually going to use the level loop, but not to actually finish the level. Once we go into a certain area and pick up the soul helmet, the door will lock behind us, but because we are very realistically around this point, you should have a hammer, you should have a couple of other weapons to actually help you finish the level if you've been getting the chalices. But because we don't have any of that, we're going to completely skip out this fight that's coming up. So we're going to dash up here, we're going to grab that, we'll grab this energy vial, and we're going to, because he likes to knock me off before I can do the loop. Like that. We're going to fall off like we did last time. We're going to boost a couple of times up 3, and we're going to go across 1. We're going to keep holding on to this until the camera switches. Like that. And we're going to circle around. I'm going to try. It's really hard to see. There we go. So yeah, so we use the level up, basically just bypass that entire fight and just come back on ourselves. Brings us back to the main area. And then we're going to go meet our good friend, the Grim Reaper, or the Boatman as he's called in this. Who's really angry. I can't imagine the Grim Reaper being happy about a sorcerer resurrecting the dead. I mean, he's putting out of a job basically, hasn't he? So we're going to give him the souls, and that's going to let us leave this level.
If anything, the Green Reaper could just go kill them again. It's got more
Well,
work.
you think that? Yeah, I think he's just being lazy. He's just leaving it all to us. Being heralded as a hero is not a good gag. Okay, so that unlocks the next level up on this route, which is the lake, but we're actually going to go back on ourselves. We're going to go back down this way to Scarecrow Fields. The reason being is we're going to need to get an item called the Dragon Gems. That's going to allow us to get an item later on. So we have to follow this route as well. So we're going to go up in here and we're going to fight this mechanic. We're going to throw our daggers at him because it's the only range one we've got over our arm. Oh, this is bad. There we go. So you got to take the head off first and you can fire at the little imp behind him. Once he drops, that allows us to up the room, which lets us into this room over here. So we're going to dash into that so we can get a new club. Now you can see there is a degradation bar on the club, but the club is highly OP in this. In the remaster it is as well, but to compensate on that, because the hammer does similar damage, they actually made the animation of swinging the hammer in the remake slower. I can't get these throws off, can I? We're going to switch back to our club because we don't need our daggers for now, and we are going to use the club for the foreseeable. As always, don't touch the corn. In this game, if you do go into the corn, your speed does drastically drop, but there is also an instant kill enemy in the corn, which if it touches you, it will take a life bottle from you, and that's something that we do not want.
What's hiding in the corn?
Ooh, actually, funnily enough, I don't think anybody knows. They sound like ferrets or something like that, but you know, it's 98 sound effects, it could be anything.
Nobody knows.
No one knows. Do, 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 do. Okay, so we're going to go on to next level, which is Pumpkin Gorge. Basically, a very straightforward level, just going from start to finish. hell out of our daring dash to get that speed. We're going to break through this wall. There's 3 different ways of going past this area. I like to go this way just because there's less to deal with. There's a couple of bouncing pumpkins there, but you also do get an energy vial at the end of it once you come out. So we're going to come up to a new skip, a new one in the run. So we're going to jump up here, which negates the need for us to have the room. We're going to jump off. I'm going to try a skip, but it never seems to work for me. It's worked once. Yeah, no, it's not having it. So we're just going to do this OG, otherwise I'm going to be wasting a lot of time there. Basically, again, it bypasses the need for another rune that we also need for another rune. There's a lot of runes in this game. So we're going to grab our earth rune there. So that skip that you would have seen me try and do earlier, it would let us jump and dare and dash and jump over into this area without the need for that earth rune. It just saves about 20 seconds or so. We're going to open the chest, we're going to get a new shield, silver shield, and we're going to dare and dash and jump out of this area instead of going all the way back down. We're going to go back on ourselves this way so we don't have to do the jumping, the platform segment again. I'm going to try and do this. It's been working recently, but nope. So that one again, dare and dash and jump, it will allow you to grab the time rune and you don't have to go about hitting these little roots which drops it down so you can then pick it up as you would normally do. But unfortunately it did miss it out, so not a big deal. Oh, I missed the hand. There we go. So we're going to carry on. A few boulders are going to jump in our way. We're going to jump slash these. Fun fact, when you are using the club with the degradation, if you jump slash it only takes 1% off, but if you hit just normally, it will actually take 2, because it will register the hit of whatever you're hitting and then also hitting the ground as well. So we're up and coming on our 3rd boss. Some might say it's the hardest boss in the game. Inside joke there for everyone at home. The pumpkin serpent, basically, is just a massive pumpkin. All he does is sit there and it lets you wail on him, basically. I'm really glad in the remaster they actually changed this. It actually made it quite challenging. It gives it phases instead. You'll see how easy this boss actually is once I actually get to it. So to awaken him, we're going to go around, we're going to hit all these pods, which triggers the boss fight. We're going to utilise our shield with the dashes there. So we take as little damage as possible. We got a chance for a refund. Okay, so last pod, right next to it. So we're going to hit it once, we're going to go into this, which is a bomb. And we're going to trigger the boss fight. So look, as you see there, it actually does immense damage on it before the boss fight even starts. And you'll see how OP the club actually is. And that's the 3rd boss fight finished.
Well done.
So in the remake of that, they actually, like I say, they actually did phases. So it's still basically the same fight, but instead he brings roots up from the ground, which you have to take out first, which then makes him vulnerable. Then you can wail on him, and then his pods actually reactivate, so then you have to go back and kill the pods a 2nd time for him to become vulnerable again. And you think you've got to do that 3 times, if I remember correctly. So there we are. So what you'd have to do first is speak to her if you were playing casually. That she would tell you to kill the Pumpkin King, which we've obviously just done. So we've already killed him, so that bypasses that first conversation. She automatically gives you the first of 2 dragon gems. And that is the pumpkin route completely finished. We're going to go ahead and... yeah, I think as the stream froze. Oh dear. Oh, there we go. We're back.
Sorry, it's just the camera. It's been a bit finicky, but the rest of the stream is fine.
Oh, brilliant. Camera percent, everybody. Camera percent. Okay, this is a very special level. This is the Sleeping Village. The Sleeping Village actually has civilian enemies in it. You'll see one there. You've got Mrs. Mad. Mrs. Mad, Mr. Mad and Little Mad, I think that's her name, I'm not too sure. They're actually possessed. killing them will actually decrease the chalice rather than fill it. So we're just, because we're not going for the chalices anyway, we're just going to completely ignore them. So if we do accidentally kill one of them, it's not a massive deal. Going to grab our Earth Rune, so let's just go in here. Grab another energy vial, switch, which lowers a pillar in the corner there, which allows us to get the landlord's bust. But we're not actually going to use it. That triggers Zarok's guard to come through the door, which basically lets the exit trigger appear as well. So a little cutscene here of the guard coming through the doors. They were looking for something called the Shadow Artifact, which is the object that you're looking for in this level, but we don't need to actually use it because it's for the Enchanted Earth level, which we skipped earlier. Basically, lets you do the Demoness boss fight, often heralded as the hardest in the game. So this this clip right here actually never seems to want to work properly. We'll just get rid of him. So the object here is to clip through the wall just enough so that gate on my right hand side opens. It is very, very unresponsive today. Great time for any donations if we've got any, just whilst I try and get through it.
Yes, we have a £2 donation from Dictionary. It says 2 to the power of £9 total, also known as a binary monkey. I think it's referring to the amount because we have £512 total. Thank you for the donations.
Oh my god, why does this not want to work? Okay, so that doesn't seem to want to work today. Why? I don't know. So instead, we're gonna have to do this OG. It is a really big time loss, but at least it allows us to finish the level rather than just stare at me running at a wall. Now I've gone there. I might give it another go because we have to go back there anyway. So I'm gonna try it one more time just to see if it wants to work. Oh, it worked. There we go. So there, as simple as it is, it finally works. And now he doesn't want to jump. Come on, Dan. Come on, Dan, come on. Okay. So near the end of this level now, so we're going to hit that lets the end gate open there. And we've got a welcoming party. Say hello to the welcoming party, everybody. You're not going to be around for long.
Hello.
As I said before, Club OPAF. If there's any children watching at home, don't blood in evil guards with clubs. Just put the point out there. Leave that to Dan and me, yeah? Coming up to a really, well, I'd say a good level. It's a long level. There is a skip to go completely out of bounds and completely skip this level entirely. I unfortunately can't do this, so again we're going to do this OG. It is a bit of a long level, but it's a bit of a different one. So most levels are get to the end, kill enemies, get a couple of key items, jobs are good. This one you actually have to solve a lot of puzzles. So the first puzzle there, I skipped the dialogue, but basically it gives you a couple of riddles and you have to then find the answers around the maze. So the first one is stars. So there's 7 stars popped around. No, there's not. There's 5 stars. Apologies. We're going to go around and hit all of them, which will then trigger the next riddle. The next riddle is to do with a clown. You have to make the clown laugh at himself. It sounds a lot. It is a lot easier than it sounds, but I think we got a total of four riddles that we need to complete to actually exit this level.
Well done, Sir Knight. My star riddle was but a trifle. I always like to begin with an easy one. Return hither. You will not find my next conundrum so simple.
So we'll trigger the second riddle. Which, when I used to play this as a kid, would annoy me to no end because I could never get it in time. So you'll see there's 5 sad faces around the clown. We want to turn them all to happy ones. But once you hit one to a happy face, a timer starts, an invisible timer, and it will turn back round if you're not quick enough. But there is actually that way that I've just shown you there is the precise way of doing it. Doing that as a kid, just trying to hit them all as quick as you can, just to turn them round. And then by the time you hit that last one, the first one that you hit would then switch back round to a sad face. It would be very frustrating. Our next one was, I think it's face like a tree. Face like a tree, skin, grey skin, something like that. Basically, the answer is an elephant. So we're going to grab our chaos room, which doesn't, in this instance, doesn't actually open a door. It opens a small little gate which a mouse will pop out of. That's what our elephant's scared of. Mice.
I wonder if that's actually true.
I would hope it is after this. I mean, other than that, I've been led into a false sense of security. I'm going to just carry Stuart Little around if I ever find myself face to face with any elephants. So he will follow me, but he will stop in his tracks if I do go too far. The little black animals you see there are actually cats, if you could believe it. If the mouse gets too close to the cat, it will shriek at him, and the mouse will run away, which leads me to start the whole riddle all over again. So I'm going to lead it to the elephant, who's going to smash open the wall behind him, which lets us continue on with the riddles.
An elephant. This time, however, I almost pity you. The answer to my next vexing enigma has eluded the finest minds of a whole generation.
Do a moonwalk.
Come to me.
So, last Little? Shout out Little. Last riddle of the level involves darkness and light. So we're going to go through the new exit, the entryway that the elephant opened up, and jump down this little grid. So there's a little room here with a moon inside, and there's 3 torches all around the perimeter. What we're going to do, we're going to push these to the windows that you can see there, which allows light to come through the windows into where the moon sigil is, triggering the end of this riddle and the end of the level. So we're going to stand in the middle here. There we go.
Blast you. It took me ages to come up with that darkness one. Very well. Outrageous
as you can hear, Jack,
my vast intellect has been matched by your badly decomposed brain. Return at once, and I
know he said fast intellect, but it sounded like he said fast internet.
we got them 20 meg speeds.
You.
Alright. So he actually gives us free reign around the maze now because he's not very happy with us. We've kiboshed all his riddles, and we're going to get the hell out of Dodge. But not before he actually leaves us with one final one, which is a little chess puzzle. So you can see all the pieces here. Now, if you don't play chess, then you won't know. But these pieces can only move in a specific way. So that one there can only move diagonally. The queen piece that I'm hitting here can move any way, but only in one space. Same with the king there. Where are you going? Come in. So we've got to move these along, and then I don't actually know what that one next to it is actually called. I just called them the tower when I used to play chess.
And they're castles or rooks?
Rooks, I think it is.
Yeah, people call them a castle or a rook. Yes.
So we just line them up as you see there and go on to our next level. Now this is a special level as well. It's where we're going to get our second dragon gem, but it's also very different. It actually is it's essentially a gauntlet of enemies. I think there's 100 enemies in total. Just over 100. Each one can actually do 50 points of damage to me, so I want to make sure I'm not taking damage at all.
Do you have time for a donation?
Perfect time, actually. Yeah.
Hermit has donated £4.20 with the comment, "Wide people happy." We've also broken our overlay because I forgot to account for having like non-whole number donation. So it's now 516.2.
Shout out to everybody who has donated. You're the real MVPs.
Should I fix that or not? Is 516.2 good, charming?
Yeah, I think we're good for that. Also, while we are on this level, I would like to just give a couple of shout outs myself. I want to just shout out, obviously, WASD for putting the event on and allowing me to showcase this amazing game to you guys. If you see me in practice, you'll think I absolutely hate this game. But when things go right, they go wonderful. So I really appreciate them putting me on for this. Shout out to all the other runners as well running today. Good friend of mine, Nos, shout out to him, he's running Spiral later on. Shout out to Fo as well, he's doing a couple of runs later on today. Also, I want to shout out UKSM, Quickcade, any other UK-based speed runs at the minute. I think 2020 is the year of the UK speed run, it seems.
There's a big come up in 2020.
There's a big hype for UK events this year. Also, because I know she's watching, shout out to my mum. Hi, mum. She's watching all the way back up in Manchester.
Hi, danspence as well.
This particular room soon. It's gonna, after these zombies, it is gonna drop headless zombies. What we're gonna do is stand right here, switch to our club, and kill these with jump slashes. As I say, club OP. We're actually gonna come across a new enemy type in a minute as well, called maniacs. Strategy for these is exactly the same. We're gonna just jump slash all of them.
It's a very creepy laugh.
That voice acting. I missed it. Come on. Oh no, I switched back to it. Oh, that's it. Big oof. I have to be careful with my club in a minute. I do need it for a later level for the dragon fight, so I can't let it take too much damage here, which is why we use the jump slashes, because it only takes 1% off. I want to at least have around the back. I think it should be alright. So this is our final route. We're just going to get rid of these zombies on this side. And it's actually going to drop us a chest with a bomb in it. Spawn out for a little bit. Hit the chest. Take them all out, and then we're going to bounce. So you will see we have got 100% for the chalice, but we're going to ignore that. We don't actually need them for this run. We're going to rescue the mayor, who's actually going to give us our second dragon gem. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And we are going to bounce. So we're going to go back up to the lake where we were before. Now that we've got our dragon gems, we can actually continue on this route. So the boatman's going to drop us off at this level. We're not actually going to do anything in this level, we are just going to skip right to the end and clip out of the exit door. Have to be very careful, because if I fall off at any point, I will lose a life bottle, and from this point forward the life bottles are essential. We're going to pick up some vials on the way, but we just want to make sure we're at as much health as we can possibly get. So what we're going to do, we're going to clip in this corner here. We're going to go slightly out of bounds. long game. And what we're going to do, we're going to actually jump on top of the exit, and that's going to let us finish. Shout out to Glitchin, the real MVP of the speedruns. Crystal Caves is up next. It's a very nice, aesthetically looking level, as you can imagine. There's crystals everywhere. We're also going to deal with some shadow demons here, but we're just going to run right past. The objective here is to go and wake up a dragon, but once we do so, he's not going to be happy for us, we're just going to wake him up from his nap. But afterwards, he's going to get a bit of a headache, and we'll see why in a moment. So the objective is just to run as far past as you can, use the earth rune to get through here, and go through the waterfall, which brings us to the dragon's lair. We're going to use the dragon gem to switch back to our club. Here he is. So what happens here, you'll hit the ground on one spot, which will make rocks fall from the next one along. The objective is obviously to hit the floor when the dragon's popping out, to drop the rocks on his head. We're going to reset his configuration a little bit. That brings him back up around the top. And he's going to give us the dragon potion, which gives us dragon armor. Makes us look like a dragon, makes us immune to fire, and it also lets us breathe fire as well. And the best thing is these little imps that you see here, if you see one's not holding a torch, they can actually steal your weapons. But because the dragon armor is a special weapon, it's actually unstealable. So we've got no worries for that. We're actually going to leave the dragon armor on for the foreseeable next few levels until we get to the last boss, actually. We're just going to leave it on. We're going to go ahead and go to the Gallows Gauntlet. Again, very simple level, very linear. We're just going to run straight to the end. Use the dragon armor to go through the fire door, which is actually required. Fun fact, actually, for years, medieval speedrunners were trying to find Dragon Gate skip, which is obviously so you don't have to go get the dragon gems, you don't have to get the dragon armor, and you can actually skip through the gate you've just seen me go through there. In the remaster, that skip was actually viable. It's actually there. Unfortunately, for speedrunners, not so much anyone else, that was actually recently patched. So, the Dragon Gate skip that everyone was looking for was there for a short amount of time, but since the patch, it's actually been completely patched out and it's not working. RIP to the Dragon Gate skip.
RIP.
RIP.
Wait, they patched out the skip in the remaster?
In the remaster, yeah. So you could use the slight inventory glitch to basically glitch through the fire, even though you'll take slight damage. But eventually you will push yourself through, and similarly on the way back out. But now it actually pushes you back when you take the damage. So there's no way of actually forcing yourself through the invisible wall, as it will.
For the remaster, did they completely rebuild the game from scratch, or did they reuse the existing code?
They used the original source code for it, yeah, and they built it up from that.
I'd imagine that'd be quite difficult going from PS1 to PS4.
Yeah, they did an amazing job on it. I will say. In essence, it's the same game. They did add a couple of extra bits here and there, so it's not just a remaster of the graphics, anything like that. They did modern controls. They've added extra optional quests on the end of it, the Lost Souls. They did a really amazing job with it. So shout out over Ocean if any of the guys there are watching. I know they're in the Res 4 Discord as well.
So it's not like the Spyro and Crash remasters where they rebuilt the entire game and tried to make it similar. It's like the actual game. Really well done.
Yeah, really is. Basically, it's how, when this first came out, how you thought it looked like. Looking back on it now, it's probably not aged as well. But yeah, the remaster is amazing. I've actually been practicing it myself at a minute. I'm currently running Good Ending, all 20 chalices. I have submitted that for a couple of future events, so keep an eye out. You might see me running that in the future. So welcome to the Haunted Ruins, the bane of my speedrunning existence. So for those who didn't catch it, last year, UKSM at Insomnia, I got to this level with enough time to spare. used the level loop system and soft locked the game. How amazing is that? Unfortunately, that left me in a infinite death loop, which I couldn't get out of. No safety saves, and basically had to start from about 6 or 7 levels behind. Really big time loss, but the route has been changed for me, so we have no worries about getting that again. So we're going to use the King's Crown to resurrect his ghost for a little bit there. He's going to tell us to blow up the castle. So we're going to grab our Earth Room, we're going to hit the switch to open up the... Now, believe it or not, that's lava. Just them graphics.
I believe.
The castle is collapsing.
So we've got to take care of these stone golems, but the dragon armor makes short work of that because it actually acts as constant damage with the fire breathing. So we push them off and we're going to escape in the most heroic way possible. So using that actually gets rid of this little acid pool, but it also gets rid of the acid coming up to the exit, which would have been there. So we're going to actually escape this in the most heroic way possible by catapult. How G is that? Whee! We out here, we out. And here comes the ghost ship. The ghost ship, which has been very consistent in practice yesterday and today, and I no doubt know this is gonna go sideways. Cause marathon luck. All being well, we'll get it. Same thing as Enchanted Earth. Level loop. The only difference is we don't actually have to use the inventory skip to go out of bounds for this. We can actually get the game to push us over the side of the ship.
Captain, go! Is it?
The guard captain says about his men will steal the silver from their grandmother's hairpin. So we're going to dash and jump off the side. He says, come on. Oh no, I've got inbound. Unfortunate. I have to be really careful here because I'm severely underpowered. There we go. So the game's pushed me off the side. We're going to level loop. And please, please, please work. I'm waiting to hear the FUD. Oh, unfortunately, we've locked it out, so I'm gonna have to quit out. Thankfully, I do have a safety save for the ghost ship ready to go. For that reason, the level loops, if they don't work, it can completely lock the game out, and there's no way of continuing without quitting out, unfortunately. Same thing can happen on a later level, the time machine. But again, we've got backups on that just in case.
Captain, go! Is it?
You have to hit it at directly the right angle to jump off of the platform here. And with these skeleton guards getting in the way. God. Oof, big oof, big oof. Come on, I know you want to work. There we go, we got it. So let's pray. I'm gonna just lean in a bit further. It's looking good, it's looking good. Yes. There we go. We got it. That's Ghost Ship skipped.
Nice, nice. How much time does that save?
To skip the Ghost Ship, it's impossible to finish on any percent if you don't skip it, because at this point you've got a shot, your small sword, club, and the dragon armor. The guards will kill you before you even get a chance to get to the end, the boss at the end of the level.
So, assuming you did have good enough equipment to actually take them on, how long would it take to clear it?
A couple of minutes, I'd say.
Ah, okay.
By that time, you'd have your magic sword, which does immense damage. You'd have a hammer as well, which also you can use as like an explosion AoE attack kind of thing.
Yeah, I see. So it's not really a skip in isolation, it's like the whole thing.
Yeah, it's the same with Time Machine. By the time you were to finish that normally, you'd be dead. So this level, very straightforward, entrance hall. We just use this opportunity to heal up a little bit because we've got Time Device next, which we do skip, and then we've got the final boss, which is Zarok, which is a 3-phase fight. And you want as much health as you can because the first phase of that actually has you fighting with Knights of Galloway and give them your health. So we're going to inventory glitch off and wait for the camera to jerk like that, and we're going to hold up and right. So you're going to see the exit there, little green spots. And we're going to come back on ourselves. Ah, come on. Oh.
Looks very difficult, you can't even see anything.
It's literally, all you got to do is just time it in your head. There's on the Ghost Ship Enchanted Earth, there is camera changes that you can slightly see, which tells you obviously to change direction when you are looping round. But this is the only one where it's a bit different because you have to line up the train tracks that you see there. They have to be perfectly straight and in the middle. Otherwise, you'll do what I did there and lock. I can't move. Second time's the charm, ladies and gents. Hey, there we go. Second time is the charm, not third. Don't believe what people tell you.
What do they tell you? Oh, third time.
Are we ready for the hype train as well, ladies and gentlemen? I know the Resfort guys are waiting. We're going to see the hype train any minute.
What's the hype train? Oh my god, it's the hype train.
Okay, so last level of the game, Zarok's Lair. And as he says there, we never thought you'd get this far. Neither did I. So, bit of a difference one. This is a 3-phase boss fight. First phase, we're going to grab this good lightning and trigger the boss fight. So, Zarok's going to send out 8 of his minions. I'm going to send out 8 of my guys. The difference is my guys can only be healed by my own health. So that's why I make sure that we have full health going into this. You can use the infantry skip to basically halve this fight, but every time I've managed to get that skip, it has soft locked, so we're going safer. No, only because it's just a couple of seconds, I am just going to let this run instead of skipping the dialogue.
For the honor of Gallowmere!
And here we go. So phase 1, it's one-on-one with all these guys. You'll see the colour of my warriors change from yellow to red. Red obviously being where we don't want them to be. And we're going to use the iframes that life bottles give us to get some extra heals out of this. The only thing is when you are healing, they do stop attacking. So it is best just to heal one at a time. eventually what will happen is they'll whittle the other guys down and they'll join each other. It'll be a 2-on-1 fight, up to a 3-on-1 fight, and then... and luckily for me, even though this is using a lot of health, each one that does survive the battle will turn into an energy vial, so I get my health back that way. This is very RNG based and it's not going my way. There we go. So he's killed him, so he's going to go and join in on with my boy over there. There's another one there, so just give him a quick heal. There we go. So it's 3-on-3, 3-on-1 there, 3-on-1 there, 2-on-1 there. And we won. So that's phase 1 finished. It's going to take a little bit of time because they're all going to transform into energy vials. I think world record actually lets them die, so there's less energy vials to pick up and less of a cutscene. Well, if anyone is interested in watching the world record of this run, any percent, Noob Killer Roof on YouTube, absolutely amazing run. Finishes it in around 36 minutes, I think. Every skip, glitch, everything works on point. It's just amazing to watch. So we're going to go into phase 2 of the fight now. Zarok's going to send out his right-hand man, Lord Kardok here. And even though his horse is on fire, he's very weak to fire, so we're going to obliterate him with our own dragon armor. We are leaving those vials there because I am going to lose a little bit of health in this fight. We're basically just going to tank the damage. As always, the worst enemy in this game is the camera. And there's phase 2 finished. We did use a life bottle, that's why we leave the energy vials there. I'm going to leave the other one there just in case. And here we are, folks, we're finally there. We are at the last phase of this final boss.
Where is it?
Your estimate's an hour 30 and you're only an hour in. You're doing really well.
I put that on because last time I put an hour and it didn't go well at all. So I just wanted to make sure that we've got the time there just in case we needed it.
You're doing quite well.
So Zarok is going to transform himself into this like lizard, snake, dragon thing. And he's going to chase us about. Now whilst he's covered in the little blue aura that you see there, he is invincible. We're going to try and manipulate that by putting our guard up. Even though we don't have a shield, it can manipulate him to go into his vulnerable state. Like that. Oh, don't want to be my friend today, do you, Zarok? So we're nearly there. Time will end on his last hit. Time.
Congratulations.
Now, if you listen very carefully, you're going to hear the best sound ever in a video game.
Finally defeated.
Wait for it, wait for it.
Yet, if I am to fail, then all
I really
shall
underestimated
perish.
how long
you
this actually is.
You are doomed, Fortescue. You will never leave this domain.
Rest in peace, Paul Darrow as well. Amazing voice actor. Here we go. And that is MediEvil 98, ladies and gentlemen. I have been danspence94. Thank you so much for tuning in. The amazing FMVs that this game brought out.
Thank you, Dan, very much for your run.
As always, as I said before, if you can donate, please donate to Special Effects. We are up to £516.20. shout out to all the runners running today. Hopefully they'll all get as great runs as I have done. Shout out WASD and all the staff and the organisers here, and anyone who's obviously in the audience watching. Shout out to everyone at home, Resfort, the MediEvil speedrunning Discord might be in here as well, so shout out to you guys. And yeah, just if you're interested in seeing more stuff like this, follow me on Twitch, danspence94, Twitter, all that good stuff. I pretty much use the same handle for everything. And yeah, we're just going to let the FMV play out. So yeah,
You've banished all the evil from the world.
With Zarok dead, all the souls go back. The good souls that you see there don't know what they're doing, so they drop all the weapons, and we are going to go back to our resting spot. That's finally heralded as an actual hero.
Wait, you're a skeleton, right? You finally just get to die?
Well, yeah, he dies, but then when Zarok resurrects his army, he accidentally resurrects Dan as well.
Ah, so he finally gets to die properly now.
Yeah. This is actually the bad ending as well, fun fact. So, as you see, he lays down to rest there, he goes back to being dead, and that is the end. The good ending is if you get all 20 chalices, you'll see him obviously go in his crypt there, he'll go to sleep, but he'll actually then end up in the Hall of Heroes, and everyone will start actually giving him the props that he deserves. He'll get his own statue. And he does try and take a drink, but as you see, his lower jaw's not there, so it does just spill down him. It's quite hilarious. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to WASD for letting me showcase this game, and hope everyone enjoys the rest of the runs on today. So that's all from me.
Okay,
Peace.
thank you.